Act 5 of Henry VI, Part 3 by William Shakespeare. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. Coventry. Enter Warwick, the Mayor of Coventry, 2 messengers, and the others upon the walls.
Where's the post that came from valiant Oxford? How far thence is thy lord, mine honest fellow?
By this at Dunsmore, marching hitherward.
How far off is our brother Montague? Where is the post that came from Montague?
By this at Daintree, with a puissant troop.
Enter Sir John Somerville.
Say, Somerville, what says my loving son? And by thy guess, how nigh is Clarence now?
At Southam I did leave him with his forces, and do expect him here some 2 hours hence.
Drum heard.
Then Clarence is at hand. I hear his drum.
It is not his, my lord. Here Southam lies. The drum your honour hears marcheth from Warwick.
Who should that be? Belike unlooked for friends.
They are at hand, and you shall quickly know.
March. Flourish. Enter King Edward IV, Gloucester, and soldiers.
Go, trumpet, to the walls, and sound a parley.
See how surly Warwick mans the wall.
Oh, unbid spite! Is sportful Edward come? Where slept our scouts, or how are they seduced, that we could hear no news of his repair?
Now, Warwick, wilt thou ope the city gates, speak gentle words, and humbly bend thy knee, call Edward king, and at his hand beg mercy, and he shall pardon thee these outrages.
Nay, rather wilt thou draw thy forces hence, confess who set thee up, and pluck thee own, call Warwick patron, and be penitent, and thou shalt still remain the Duke of York.
I thought at least he would have said the king. Or did he make the jest against his will?
Is not a dukedom, sir, a goodly gift?
Ay, by my faith, for a poor earl to give, I'll do thee service for so good a gift.
'Twas I that gave the kingdom to thy brother.
Why then 'tis mine, if but by Warwick's gift.
Thou art no Atlas for so great a weight, and, weakling, Warwick takes his gift again, and Henry is my king, Warwick his subject.
But Warwick's king is Edward's prisoner, and gallant Warwick, do but answer this: what is the body when the head is off?
Alas, that Warwick had no more forecast, but whiles he thought to steal the single 10, the king was slyly fingered from the deck. You left poor Henry at the bishop's palace, and 10 to 1 you'll meet him in the Tower.
'Tis even so, yet you are Warwick still.
Come, Warwick, take the time, kneel down, kneel down. Nay, when? Strike now, or else the iron cools.
I had rather chop this hand off at a blow, and with the other fling it at thy face, than bear so low a sail to strike at thee.
Sail how thou canst. Have wind and tide thy friend. This hand, fast wound about thy coal-black hair, shall, whilst thy head is warm and new cut off, write in the dust this sentence with thy blood: Wind-changing Warwick now can change no more.
Enter Oxford with drum and colours.
Oh, cheerful colours, see where Oxford comes.
Oxford, Oxford for Lancaster.
He and his forces enter the city.
The gates are open, let us enter too.
So other foes may set upon our backs, stand we in good array, for they no doubt will issue out again and bid us battle. If not, the city, being but of small defence, we'll quickly rouse the traitors in the same.
Oh, welcome Oxford, for we want thy help.
Enter Montague with drum and colours.
Montague, Montague, for Lancaster.
He and his forces enter the city.
Thou and thy brother both shall buy this treason, even with the dearest blood your bodies bear.
The harder matched, the greater victory. My mind presageth happy gain and conquest.
Enter Somerset with drum and colours.
Somerset, Somerset, for Lancaster.
He and his forces enter the city.
2 of thy name, both Dukes of Somerset, have sold their lives unto the house of York. And thou shalt be the 3rd, if this sword hold.
Enter Clarence with drum and colours.
And lo, where George of Clarence sweeps along, a force enough to bid his brother battle, with whom an upright zeal to right prevails more than the nature of a brother's love. Come, Clarence, come, thou wilt if Warwick call.
Father of Warwick, know you what this means?
Taking a red rose out of his hat.
Look here, I throw my infamy at thee. I will not ruinate my father's house, who gave his blood to lime the stones together, and set up Lancaster. Why trowest thou, Warwick, that Clarence is so harsh, so blunt, unnatural, to bend the fatal instruments of war against his brother and his lawful king? Perhaps thou wilt object my holy oath. To keep that oath were more impiety than Jephthah's when he sacrificed his daughter. I am so sorry for my trespass made, that to deserve well at my brother's hands, I here proclaim myself thy mortal foe, with resolution, wheresoe'er I meet thee, and I will meet thee if thou stir abroad, to plague thee for thy foul misleading me. And so, proud-hearted Warwick, I defy thee, and to my brother turn my blushing cheeks. Pardon me, Edward, I will make amends. And Richard, do not frown upon my faults, for I will henceforth be no more unconstant.
Now welcome more, and 10 times more, beloved, than if thou never hadst deserved our hate.
Welcome, good Clarence, this is brother-like.
O passing traitor, perjured and unjust!
What, Warwick, wilt thou leave the town and fight? Or shall we beat the stones about thine ears?
Alas, I am not cooped here for defence. I will away towards Barnet presently, and bid thee battle, Edward, if thou darest.
Yes, Warwick, Edward dares, and leads the way. Lords, to the fields! St. George and victory!
Exeunt King Edward and his company. March. Warwick and his company follow. Scene 2. A field of battle near Barnet. Alarum and excursions. Enter King Edward the Fourth, bringing forth Warwick wounded.
So, lie thou there, die thou, and die our fear. For Warwick was a bug that feared us all. Now, Montague, sit fast, I seek for thee, that Warwick's bones may keep thine company.
Exit.
Ah, who is nigh? Come to me, friend or foe, and tell me who is victor, York or Warwick? Why ask I that? My mangled body shows, my blood, my want of strength, my sick heart shows, that I must yield my body to the earth, and by my fall the conquest to my foe. Thus yields the cedar to the axe's edge, whose arms gave shelter to the princely eagle, under whose shade the ramping lion slept, whose top branch overpeered Jove's spreading tree, and kept low shrubs from winter's powerful wind. These eyes, that now are dimmed with death's black veil, have been as piercing as a midday sun, to search the secret treasons of the world. The wrinkles in my brows, now filled with blood, were likened oft to kingly sepulchres, for who lived king but I could dig his grave? And who durst mind when Warwick bent his brow? Lo, now my glory smeared in dust and blood. My parks, my walks, my manners that I had, even now forsake me, and of all my lands is nothing left me but my body's length. Why, what is pomp, rule, reign, but earth and dust? And live how we can, yet die we must.
Enter Oxford and Somerset.
Ah, Warwick, Warwick, wert thou as we are! We might recover all our loss again. The Queen from France hath brought us a puissant power. Even now we heard the news. Ah, couldst thou fly!
Why, then I would not fly. Ah, Montague, if thou be there, sweet brother, take my hand, and with thy lips keep in my soul a while. Thou lovest me not. For, brother, if thou didst, thy tears would wash this cold congealed blood that glues my lips, and will not let me speak. Come quickly, Montague, or I am dead.
Ah, Warwick, Montague hath breathed his last, and to the latest gasp cried out for Warwick. and said, Commend me to my valiant brother. And more he would have said, and more he spoke, which sounded like a clamour in a vault, that mought not be distinguished. But at last I well might hear, delivered with a groan, Oh, farewell, Warwick.
Sweet rest his soul. Fly, lords, and save yourselves, for Warwick bids you all farewell to meet in heaven.
Dies.
Away, away, to meet the Queen's great power.
Here they bear away his body. Exeunt. Scene 3. Another part of the field. Flourish. Enter King Edward IV in triumph, with Gloucester, Clarence, and the rest.
Thus far our fortune keeps an upward course, and we are graced with wreaths of victory. But in the midst of this bright shining day, I spy a black, suspicious, threatening cloud, that will encounter with our glorious sun, ere he attain his easeful western bed. I mean, my lords, those powers that the Queen hath raised in Gallia have arrived our coast, and, as we hear, march on to fight with us.
A little gale will soon disperse that cloud, and blow it to the source from whence it came. The very beams will drive those vapours up, for every cloud engenders not a storm.
The Queen is valued 30,000 strong, and Somerset with Oxford fled to her. If she have time to breathe, be well assured her faction will be full as strong as ours.
We are advertised by our loving friends, that they do hold their course toward Tewkesbury. We have now the best at Barnet field. We'll thither straight, for willingness rids way, and as we march, our strength will be augmented in every county as we go along. Strike up the drum, cry, Courage, and away.
Exeunt. Scene 4. Plains near Tewkesbury. March. Enter Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, Somerset, Oxford, and soldiers.
Great lords, wise men ne'er sit and wail their loss, but cheerly seek how to redress their harms. What though the mast be now blown overboard, the cable broke, the holding anchor lost, and half our sailors swallowed in the flood? Yet lives our pilot still. Is't meet that he should leave the helm, and like a fearful lad with tearful eyes add water to the sea, and give more strength to that which hath too much, whiles in his moan the ship splits on the rock, which industry and courage might have saved? Ah, what a shame! Ah, what a fault were this! Say Warwick was our anchor, what of that? And Montague our topmast, what of him? Our slaughtered friends, the tackles, what of these? Why is not Oxford here another anchor, and Somerset another goodly mast? The friends of France our shrouds and tacklings? And, though unskilful, why not Ned and I for once allowed the skilful pilot's charge? We will not from the helm to sit and weep, but keep our course, though the rough wind say no, from shelves and rocks that threaten us with wreck, as good to chide the waves as speak them fair. And what is Edward but ruthless sea? What Clarence but a quicksand of deceit? And Richard but a ragged fatal rock? All these the enemies to our poor bark. Say you can swim, alas, 'tis but a while. Tread on the sand, why there you quickly sink. Bestride the rock, the tide will wash you off. Or else you famish, that's a threefold death. This speak I, lords, to let you understand, if case some one of you would fly from us, that there's no hoped for mercy with the brothers more than with ruthless waves, with sands and rocks. Why, courage then! What cannot be avoided, 'twere childish weakness to lament or fear.
Methinks a woman of this valiant spirit should, if a coward heard her speak these words, infuse his breast with magnanimity, and make him, naked, foil a man at arms. I speak not this as doubting any here, for did I but suspect a fearful man, he should have leave to go away betimes, lest in our need he might infect another, and make him of like spirit to himself. If any such be here, as God forbid, let him depart before we need his help.
Women and children of so high a courage, and warriors faint, why 'twere perpetual shame, O brave young prince! Thy famous grandfather doth live again in thee. Long mayst thou live, to bear his image and renew his glories.
Will not fight for such a hope. Go home to bed, and like the owl by day, if he arise, be mocked and wondered at.
Thanks, gentle Somerset, sweet Oxford, thanks.
And take his thanks, that yet hath nothing else.
Enter a messenger.
Prepare, your lords, for Edward is at hand, ready to fight. Therefore be resolute.
I thought no less. It is his policy to haste thus fast to find us unprovided.
But he's deceived. We are in readiness.
This cheers my heart to see your forwardness.
Here pitch our battle, hence we will not budge.
Flourish and march. Enter King Edward IV, Gloucester, Clarence, and soldiers.
Brave followers, yonder stands the thorny wood, which, by the heavens' assistance and your strength, must by the roots be hewn up yet ere night. I need not add more fuel to your fire, for well I wot ye blaze to burn them out. Give signal to the fight, and do it, lords.
Lords, knights, and gentlemen, what I should say, my tears gainsay. For every word I speak, ye see I drink the water of mine eyes. Therefore no more but this: Henry, your sovereign, is prisoner to the foe, his state usurped, his realm a slaughter-house, his subjects slain, his statutes cancelled, and his treasure spent. And yonder is the wolf that makes this spoil. You fight in justice. Then in God's name, lords, be valiant, and give signal to the fight.
Alarum, retreat. Excursions. Exeunt. Scene 5. Another part of the field. Flourish. Enter King Edward IV, Gloucester, Clarence, and soldiers, with Queen Margaret, Oxford, and Somerset, prisoners.
Now, here a period of tumultuous broils. Away with Oxford to Hames Castle straight. For Somerset, off with his guilty head. Go, bear them hence. I will not hear them speak.
For my part, I'll not trouble thee with words.
Nor I, but stoop with patience to my fortune.
Exeunt Oxford and Somerset guarded.
So part we sadly in this troublous world, to meet with joy in sweet Jerusalem.
Is proclamation made, that who finds Edward shall have a high reward, and he his life?
It is, and lo, where youthful Edward comes.
Enter soldiers with Prince Edward.
Bring forth the gallant, let us hear him speak. What, can so young a thorn begin to prick? Edward, what satisfaction canst thou make for bearing arms, for stirring up my subjects, and all the trouble thou hast turned me to?
Speak like a subject, proud ambitious York. Suppose that I am now my father's mouth. Resign thy chair, and where I stand kneel thou, whilst I propose the self-same words to thee, which, traitor, thou wouldst have me answer to.
Ah, that thy father had been so resolved!
That you might still have worn the petticoat, and never have stol'n the breech from Lancaster.
Let Aesop fable in a winter's night, his currish riddle sort not with this place.
By heaven, brat, I'll plague you for that word.
Ay, thou wast born to be a plague to men.
For God's sake, take away this captive scold.
Nay, take away this scolding crookback rather.
Peace, wilful boy, or I will charm your tongue.
Untutored lad, thou art too malapert.
I know my duty. You are all undutiful. Lascivious Edward, and thou, perjured George, and thou, misshapen Dick, I tell ye all, I am your better, traitors as ye are, and thou usurp'st my father's right and mine.
Take that, thou likeness of this railer here.
Stabs him.
Sprawl'st thou? Take that to end thy agony.
Stabs him.
And there's for twitting me with perjury.
Stabs him.
Oh, kill me too.
Marry and shall.
Offers to kill her.
Hold, Richard, hold, for we have done too much.
Why should she live to fill the world with words?
What, doth she swoon? Use means for her recovery.
Clarence, excuse me to the king my brother. I'll hence to London on a serious matter. Ere ye come there, be sure to hear some news.
What? What?
The tower, the tower.
Exit.
O Ned, sweet Ned, speak to thy mother, boy. Canst thou not speak? O traitors, murderers! They that stabbed Caesar shed no blood at all, did not offend, nor were not worthy blame, if this foul deed were by to equal it. He was a man, this in respect a child, and men ne'er spend their fury on a child. What's worse than murderer, that I may name it? No, no, my heart will burst, and if I speak, and I will speak that so my heart may burst. Butchers and villains, bloody cannibals! How sweet a plant have you untimely cropped! You have no children, butchers! If you had, the thought of them would have stirred up remorse. But if you ever have chanced to have a child, look in this youth to have him so cut off as death-men you have rid this sweet young prince.
Away with her. Go bear her hence perforce.
Nay, never bear me hence. Dispatch me here. Here sheathe thy sword. I'll pardon thee my death. What, wilt thou not? Then, Clarence, do it thou.
By heaven, I will not do thee so much ease.
Good Clarence, do, sweet Clarence, do thou do it.
Didst thou not hear me swear I would not do it?
Ay, but thou usest to forswear thyself. 'Twas sin before, but now 'tis charity. What, wilt thou not? Where is that devil's butcher, hard-favoured Richard? Richard, where art thou? Thou art not here. Murder is thy alms-deed. Petitioners for blood thou ne'er put'st back.
Away, I say. I charge ye, bear her hence.
So come to you and yours as to this prince.
Exit led out forcibly.
Where's Richard gone?
To London, all in post, and as I guess, to make a bloody supper in the Tower.
He's sudden, if a thing comes in his head. Now march we hence, discharge the common sort with pay and thanks, and let's away to London, and see our gentle Queen how well she fares. By this, I hope, she hath a son for me.
Exeunt. Scene 6. London, the Tower. Enter King Henry the Sixth and Gloucester, with the lieutenant on the walls.
Good day, my lord. What, at your book so hard?
Ay, my good lord. My lord, I should say rather. 'Tis sin to flatter. Good was little better. Good Gloucester and good devil were alike, and both preposterous. Therefore not good lord.
Sirrah, leave us to ourselves. We must confer.
Exit lieutenant.
So flies the reckless shepherd from the wolf. So first the harmless sheep doth yield his fleece, and next his throat unto the butcher's knife. What scene of death hath Roscius now to act?
Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. The thief doth fear each bush an officer.
The bird that hath been limed in a bush, with trembling wings misdoubteth every bush. And I, the hapless male to one sweet bird, have now the fatal object in my eye, where my poor young was limed, was caught and killed.
Why, what a peevish fool was that of Crete, that taught his son the office of a fowl, and yet for all his wings the fool was drowned.
I, Daedalus, my poor boy Icarus, thy father Minos, that denied our course, the sun that seared the wings of my sweet boy, thy brother Edward, and thyself the sea, whose envious gulf did swallow up his life. Ah, kill me with thy weapon, not with words. My breast can better brook thy dagger's point than can my ears that tragic history. But wherefore dost thou come? Is't for my life?
Think'st thou I am an executioner?
A persecutor I am sure thou art. If murdering innocents be executing, why then thou art an executioner.
Thy son I killed for his presumption.
Hadst thou been killed when first thou didst presume, thou hadst not lived to kill a son of mine. And thus I prophesy, that many a thousand which now mistrust no parcel of my fear, and many an old man's sigh, and many a widow's, and many an orphan's water-standing eye, men for their sons, wives for their husbands, and orphans for their parents' timeless death, shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born. The owl shrieked at thy birth, an evil sign. The night-crow cried, a boding luckless time. Dogs howled, and hideous tempest shook down trees. The raven rooked her in the chimney's top, and chattering pies in dismal discord sung. Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope, to wit, an indigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a goodly tree. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world. And if the rest be true which I have heard, thou camest—
I'll hear no more. Die, prophet, in thy speech. For this amongst the rest was I ordained.
Stabs him.
Ay, and for much more slaughter after this. God forgive my sins, and pardon thee.
Dies.
What, will the aspiring blood of Lancaster sink in the ground? I thought it would have mounted. See how my sword weeps for the poor king's death. Oh, may such purple tears be always shed from those that wish the downfall of our house. If any spark of life be yet remaining, down, down to hell, and say I sent thee thither.
Stabs him again.
I that have neither pity, love, nor fear. Indeed, 'tis true that Henry told me of, for I have often heard my mother say I came into the world with my legs forward. Had I not reason, think ye, to make haste, and seek the ruin that usurped our right? The midwife wondered, and the women cried, O Jesus bless us, he is born with teeth! And so I was, which plainly signified that I should snarl and bite and play the dog. Then, since the heavens have shaped my body so, let hell make crooked my mind to answer it. I have no brother, I'm like no brother, and this word love, which greybeards call divine, be resident in men like one another, and not in me. I am myself alone. Clarence, beware, thou keep'st me from the light, but I will sort a pitchy day for thee, for I will buzz abroad such prophecies that Edward shall be fearful of his life, and then, to purge his fear, I'll be thy death. King Henry and the Prince his son are gone. Clarence, thy turn is next, and then the rest. Counting myself but bad till I be best, I'll throw thy body in another room, and triumph, Henry, in thy day of doom.
Exit with the body. Scene 7. London, the Palace. Flourish. Enter King Edward the Fourth, Queen Elizabeth, Clarence, Gloucester, Hastings, a nurse of the young prince, and attendants.
Once more we sit in England's royal throne, repurchased with the blood of enemies. What valiant foemen, like to autumn's corn, we have mowed down in tops of all their pride. 3 Dukes of Somerset, threefold renowned for hardy and undoubted champions. 2 Cliffords, as the father and the son, and 2 Northumberlands, 2 braver men ne'er spurred their coursers at the trumpet's sound. With them the 2 brave bears, Warwick and Montague, that in their chains fettered the kingly lion, and made the forest tremble when they roared. Thus have we swept suspicion from our seat, and made our footstool of security. Come hither, Bess, and let me kiss my boy. Young Ned, for thee, thine uncles, and myself have in our armours watched the winter's night, went all afoot in summer's scalding heat, that thou mightst repossess the crown in peace, and of our labours thou shalt reap the gain.
Aside.
I'll blast his harvest if your head were laid for yet I'm not looked on in the world. This shoulder was ordained so thick to heave, and heave it shall some weight, or break my back. Work thou the way, and thou shalt execute.
Clarence and Gloucester, love my lovely queen, and kiss your princely nephew, brothers both.
The duty that I owe unto your majesty I seal upon the lips of this sweet babe.
Thanks, noble Clarence. Worthy brother, thanks.
And that I love the tree from whence thou sprangst. Witness the loving kiss I give the fruit.
Aside.
To say the truth, so Judas kissed his master, and cried all hail, when as he meant all harm.
Now I am seated at my soul's delight, having my country's peace and brothers' loves.
What will your grace have done with Margaret? Rainier, her father, to the King of France hath pawned the Sicils and Jerusalem, and hither have they sent it for her ransom.
Away with her, and waft her hence to France. And now, what rests but that we spend the time with stately triumphs, mirthful comic shows, such as befits the pleasure of the court. Sound the drums and the trumpets. Farewell, sour annoy, for here, I hope, begins our lasting joy.
Exeunt. End of Act 5. End of Henry the Sixth, Part 3 by William Shakespeare.